Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and it's time for our 53rd Pokemon TCG live online match here on the channel. As I'm following the theme or tradition of checking out the break evolutions from the new Steam Siege expansion. And as viewer Danny Sixers did mention last week, I believe, they said that since we've already taken a look at Xerneas Break, it's time for, now that we're done with the X Legendary, to let the Y Legendary, Yveltal, have its chance to shine. Weird I chose that term because it's all about the darkness and the night, and I guess dark things can be shiny. But anyway, all that being said, we'll be taking a look at Yveltal Break for this week's deck, which I'm calling Break of Night, which I think kind of a cool name. You know, like Break of Dawn, but it's evil, dark, nighttime sort of stuff, you know, so it's, Actually, it's more in line with the name of the attack. As you'll see here, Yveltal Break for 3 darkness energy can do Baleful Night. 120 damage. This attack does 30 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. Don't apply weakness and resistance, of course. So of course the idea is going to be put some damage on the benched Pokemon and then use your Yveltal Break attack to get some damage on the active Pokemon. Nice 120 damage and then 30 to whatever is on the bench with damage already. So I'll show you some ideas I have in mind for getting damage on those benched Pokemon. But I have 2 Yveltal Break in the deck. I've got 3 basic Yveltal. Now, I'm going with 2 that have the same attacks. This one is from the... Is that Steam Siege? I believe so. Yes, it is. So, Yveltal with 130 HP, of course, Darkness-type Pokemon. The Oblivion Wing for 1 Darkness Energy, 30 damage, and attach a Darkness Energy from the discard pile to a bench Pokemon. Darkness Blade for 2 Darkness and a Colorless can do 100, but flip a coin. If tails, this Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. So, we're not going to make use of those attacks that much. The Oblivion Wing maybe, just for a little bit of chip damage on something. I've got 2 Yveltal with the same attacks. This one is from the Generations expansion, but same attack, so nothing new to mention there. Just for the sake of the ability, which kind of hurts me in a way, and I'll say why when we get to it, but I'm using this Yveltal from Breakthrough, I believe that is. The ability Fright Night says, as long as this Pokemon is active, each Pokemon tool card has no effect. So it's going to prevent any Spirit Links from being triggered. It's going to prevent, for example, as I'll mention later, my own Float Stone from working for this Pokemon. But I'll explain that as we get to that. I got other options to switch this out. I find this does kind of hurt me a little bit more than it helps me. But I've been doing some training against the computer in which they don't use any Pokemon EX. The Pitch Black Spear could come in handy. You do 60 damage to the active. This does 60 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon EX. So therefore, we can get 60 damage on there as opposed to 30 with the Baleful Night. So I'm going to have to sort of play up, decide what attack I'm going to go for at each point. So 2 Yveltal Break, 3 Yveltal. And let's just show off a couple of Pokemon from the Generations expansion here. 3 Zubat, 3 Golbat. So these initially came out in the Phantom Forces expansion. Sneaky Bite ability says when you play Golbat from hand to evolve a Zubat, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, I didn't mention it with the Baleful Night, but where the attack says do 30 damage to the bench Pokemon that have damage, if the opponent has Mr. Mime with Bench Barrier in play, that will prevent the doing of damage to Pokemon on the bench. However, it does not eliminate the ability to place damage counters on things on the bench, so the Sneaky Bite will still work. Of course, Baleful Night will not then do extra damage to it if the Mr. Mime has Bench Barrier active, but if I can bring Mr. Mime to the active spot and knock it out first, then suddenly the Bench Barrier is gone, and I can do more damage to the bench Pokemon at that point. But Swoop Across would be another way to get damage on there, as long as there is no barrier in play. For any color energy, Swoop Across does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, 10 to the active, or 20 if they're weak to it, and 10 to everything on the bench, so getting a little bit of damage off on everything. Free retreat on Golbat as well, so next turn I can retreat into Golbat and bring up the Yveltal Break. Now, Danny Sixers had mentioned something about, I think they said Mega Steelix can hurt the bench as well, but I said I want to sort of play up ideas that I can do damage before attacking, because if I can use the Sneaky Bite, on that very same turn, I can suddenly do 30 damage to a bench Pokemon as well, so immediately, I don't need to build up damage from a previous turn. On that very same turn, I can get the damage I need to make use of Baleful Night's bench damage. But another thing that I can do is, if the active Pokemon, excuse me, if the active Pokemon has less than 120 HP remaining, and I can sort of maneuver some energy around, some damage around, and still get a knockout with it, I can play one of these 3 Absol that I have from the Roaring Skies expansion, the ability Cursed Eyes. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to the bench, you may move 3 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another of his or her Pokemon. So, as I say, if the active Pokemon can spare 30 damage and still be knocked out by Baleful Night, I can put those 30 damage or 3 damage counters on a benched Pokemon. Suddenly it now has damage, therefore Baleful Night will hit that as well. So that is going to be the Pokemon collection for this deck, Break of Night. I've got 3 Absol, 3 Yveltal, 2 Yveltal Break, and 3 Zubat, 3 Golbat. It's going to be 14 Pokemon in total. Let's check out the energy cards. Now, you might be wondering why, but I'll explain that. I've got 7 Darkness Energy, 2 Fighting Energy, and 3 Fire Energy. Something that I think Danny had mentioned is, and I've noticed this myself too in the past couple episodes, so in trying to record cool matches for the channel, I've been encountering a lot of people that will forfeit after I take 1 or 2 prizes, which doesn't make for the best content if I can't show off the strategy of the deck. But the other half of the time, my deck doesn't work that well. So I'm showing off not the best strategies for you folks out there to try to recreate. So something that Danny has noticed that I am lacking sometimes is draw support. That is why I have the Fighting and Fire Energy in here. You're going to see I have Scorched Earth, bottom left corner, for draw support. But I'll detail that once we get to the trainer cards. But for the energy, I have 12 energy cards. As I say, 7 Darkness, 2 Fighting, and 3 Fire. So, starting with the trainer cards. Now, De-Evolution Spray is going to be very useful here. Since I don't have access to AZ or Super Scoop Up in the new standard format, those have both been rotated out, I don't have ways to bring Absol or Golbat back into hand, therefore I can't use their abilities again after I've already played them. I could let them get knocked out, shuffle them back into the deck, and then play them again that way, but that's kind of a workaround that might not always happen that well. But what I can do, if nothing else, I can play De-Evolution Spray on my Golbat. De-evolve one of your evolved Pokemon, and put the highest stage evolution card on it into your hand. That Pokemon can't evolve this turn. But on the next turn, it does give me access to, once again, play that Golbat down and do 2 more damage counters on something anywhere on the opponent's side of the field. So we might be able to make use of that. Basically, I have 5 uses of Golbat for 2 damage counters each time. And in Generations, they don't have Crobat, which did do a Surprise Bite, I think it was called, that did 3 damage counters. Unfortunately, we do not have access to that this time around, but Golbat can hopefully come through with the help of Absol maneuvering some damage around. I've got 2 energy retrievals to bring 2 basic energy back into hand. I've got 1 energy switch, and you'll see why I'm running that with a max elixir here. So I can move 1 basic energy from one of my Pokemon to another. Simple stuff. Escape Rope to cause both Pokemon in the active spot to switch out to a Benched Pokemon. So if I need to, I can do damage to an active Pokemon on the opposing side. I can play the Escape Rope and force it to the bench, bring up my Yveltal Break. I can suddenly hit that one on the bench still using Baleful Night. Evo Soda. I had 2 in here initially, but after tweaking the deck a bit, I realized I only need 1 because the only Pokemon I'm going to use this for, unless rare occasions call for free retreat, is going to be getting the Yveltal Break into play. If I can help it, I don't want to get Golbat into play other than playing from hand, because if I Evo Soda, I'm not playing it from my hand, therefore the Sneaky Bite will not activate. I've got 2 level balls, which are going to be useful for only finding Zubat or Golbat, and definitely good to get Golbat into hand, then I can play it, and as I say, use the ability. And Max Elixir, look at the top 6 cards of the deck, and attach a basic energy you find there to a basic Pokemon on your bench, and then shuffle the rest in. So that's a slight, tiny bit of energy acceleration. I can play that and put a Darkness Energy to a bench Pokemon, and use the energy switch to move it to my active Pokemon if it's Yveltal Break, therefore suddenly powering up a little bit faster. 2 Professor's Letters to find 2 basic energy out of the deck, 2 Super Rods to shuffle back 3 cards, either basic energy or Pokemon cards, whatever I like, back into my deck there. And I've got 1 switch card, again, for maneuvering Pokemon around. If my Yveltal with the Fright Night ability is active, I need to be able to switch it out at some point, and I'm really only going to be making use of it if the opponent has a lot of useful tool cards in play, so I'm going to keep that in mind. 2 Ultra Balls to discard 2 cards from hand and find any Pokemon from the deck. And once again, quickly, Ultra Ball, Professor's Letter, Energy Retrieval combo works really well for me. Get 2 basic energy for the Professor's Letter, discard them using Ultra Ball to find a Pokemon, Energy Retrieval, those 2 basic energy back into hand. You go through 3 trainer cards, but you gain 2 energy and a Pokemon in the process. I have 2 Versus Seekers in here to bring back some supporters I'll be using. For other draw support, I do have Judge. Both players shuffle the hand into the deck and draw 4 cards back, which could come in handy if I have a hand of cards that is really not particularly useful at the time. Lysandre, I always say you want to put one of these in the deck at least, and the idea here, if we do see Bench Barrier or Mr. Mime, I can bring it active with Lysandre. And if they have nothing but Mr. Mime on their bench too, I could always use the Escape Rope as well. But Lysandre is definitely useful. I've got Pokemon Center Lady to heal 60 damage and all special conditions from 1 Pokemon. And Pokemon Fan Club. Initially, I did have Bridget, because Bridget lets you find 3 basic Pokemon, non-EX, and put them on the bench. The idea here, though, I want to be able to get the Pokemon in hand, because if it is Absol, playing it from hand to the bench is what triggers the Cursed Eyes ability, I think. If I use Bridget, I'm not playing it from hand. Therefore, the ability will not trigger, but I want to be able to get them into hand. And I mentioned that we have not Oblivion Wing, Darkness Blade of Yveltal. Flip a coin. If tails, this Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. But I'm including Pokemon Ranger for the first time. Remove all effects of attacks on each player and his or her Pokemon. So that essentially will eliminate the unable to attack if I flip tails for Darkness Blade. And I've got Professor Birch's Observations, Professor Sycamore, both for more draw support. And I've got 2 Skylas in the deck. I always like making use of Skylas. You can find any other trainer card I need during that turn. And if it's anything but a supporter, I can play that card immediately. And we have Teammates. Since I imagine I'm going to be allowing some Pokemon to faint just to free up space on my bench, I'm going to include Teammates because if the opponent does knock out a Pokemon during their last turn, I can play Teammates to search my deck for any 2 cards that I want, take them right into hand. Definitely a very useful card if you imagine you're going to be losing some Pokemon. I've got Wally in here as well, much like the Evo Soda, but I can evolve Yveltal into Yveltal Break immediately the turn I play it. I could also use that to get Golbat for free retreat purposes, but as I say, more often than not, I'm going to want to have Golbat in hand to be able to make use of the Sneaky Bite. And the last couple of cards here, we got 2 Scorched Earth, and this is part of my draw support also, and that's why the Fire and Fighting energy is in the deck. Once during each player's turn, they may discard a Fire or Fighting energy and draw 2 cards. Definitely going to help speed up the deck. That's one of my favorite ways to increase your draw support every turn. It's almost like Tierno in a way, but it doesn't count for your supporter for the turn. You'd gain 1 less card, but you're discarding an energy to do so. And other than the Golbat, I'm not really going to be using the Fire or Fighting energy to power up attacks anyway, so they're just here for draw support from the Scorched Earth. The final 2 cards, a couple of Float Stones. Now, as I said, I'm not going to want to put this on my Yveltal with the Fright Night ability because it deactivates all tools while active, and this provides free retreat for a Pokemon it's attached to. But if it's cancelled out, that Yveltal won't have free retreat. So Float Stone is definitely going to be used for the regular Yveltal and the Yveltal Break, of course, to get some free retreat back if I need to bring Golbat up and do a little bit swoop across and do some damage on the opposing side. That is going to be the Break of Night deck for week 53 of our Pokemon TCG live online matches. 14 Pokemon, 34 trainer cards, and 12 energy cards. Let's jump into some battles right now, and hopefully I can get some long-lasting ones, and I'm going into this to have fun. Now, I might see a lot of forfeiting happening. I might see a lot of instances where my deck doesn't work very well, but you know what? I'm going to have fun with this one, and stay tuned, and let's see if we can get some good matches. Okay, we have found our second opponent of the day, Matt99. The first battle was going pretty good. Unfortunately, the server lost connection. Now, I can't help that. But oh well. Matt99 is calling for the coin flip. They got tails. We won. Alright, we'll take that first turn. Now, I wasn't sure if we're going to win that first one anyway. We're up against a Mega Rayquaza with a full bench with Emerald Break, so it was kind of looking one-sided for a bit, but I had options, and then suddenly, connection to the server has been lost. Oh well. Let's see if my opponent, well, the opponent does have an active Pokemon to play. I have nothing to start with, no basics. And I did mention in that last battle, I had only Absol as a basic in hand for my first opening hand, so that's not the best way to start this kind of a deck out, because of course Absol is best used when played from hand to the bench to make use of the ability. But let's see what my opponent decides to lead off with. This wasn't the best hand to start with either. Not a lot of options for searching for things. If I had a basic Yveltal, maybe that wouldn't have been so bad. I could have evolved or Evo Soda'd up into the Yveltal Break. I had Level Ball for a Zubat. But let's see what the next hand of cards decides to hand my way. We have a Yveltal right there. We're going to play that immediately. I'm not going to play the Absol yet because, as I just said, playing from hand onto the bench during gameplay is the best way to make use of that. I do have a Professor's Letter to find a couple of basic energy. In a De-Evolution Spray, if I can evolve into Yveltal Break, I could de-evolve it for whatever reason. Not that I really would need to or even want to do that, of course. And my opponent has 2 Pokemon ready to roll. Did I even see what types of energy that they were running? I don't recall paying attention to that, but we're about to find out in a moment as you see Water and Colorless. Hey, the other Absol I don't need yet. That's great. Let's go ahead and drop a Darkness Energy to Yveltal. And let's play out that Professor's Letter. I guess, let's just grab 2 more basic Darkness. We're going to start powering up towards that Darkness Blade. We see Glameow, and what is that, Palkia-EX? It is. Alright. So, what I could do As I start getting some damage on the Spheal, I could start dropping the Absol to move the 30 damage to a Benched Pokémon, which I might want to do since that Palkia is starting to get set up. What is your HP? 180. So if I can get 60 damage on it, and then bring it to the active spot, I could use Baleful Night if I can evolve up into Yveltal BREAK and get a KO on that Palkia. That might be the way to do this. It is the only EX we see on the opposing side, therefore the only one we really have to fear that much. Drop this to the Yveltal and go for a Oblivion Wing, or an Oblivion Wing. 30 meager damage, no Benched Pokemon, and only one card in my discard pile as it is, so therefore not going to make use of the ability to put Darkness Energy to a Pokemon on the bench. Yeah, they're starting to set that thing up. Oh, they're going to heal? Come on now. That's just slowing things down needlessly. But I can't fault you for doing that. That is a wise play, of course. We have a Golbat, no Zubat. Let's put this onto the Yveltal also. On the off chance we happen to find ourselves a Yveltal BREAK at some point. Nothing, of course, to do with that. So, do they have a switch card, perhaps? They might be waiting for me to knock this Spheal out, actually, just to bring Palkia-EX up for free. Would you stop healing with potions? You're not making this any easier. I gotta move damage onto that thing. So what can this do to us? Pearl Hurricane could destroy Yveltal. Actually, no. I would have 10 HP left. And evolution into Celio. Alright then. Now, stop potioning, please. I'm just going to go for the basic Oblivion Wing. 30 damage. I could get a knockout on Celio, but again, as I say, they're going to get a free switch into their Palkia. I kind of don't want that. So, just don't heal. Don't heal. Leave it there for one turn. Just one turn. Now, alright, they left it. If I can find Lysandre, we'll be in a good spot. I'm going to play the Absol and move the damage onto the Palkia. In fact, I could have waited and done that twice in one turn by playing both Absol, but they kind of know my strategy now, I think. So, no Darkness Energy to play. If I can get Lysandre on my next hand, I can knock out that Palkia-EX. Come on. Give me Lysandre. That's the only thing I need. Of course, I've got 40 cards in the deck. I need one particular card. Plus, there's the fact it could be a prize card as well. I don't even know that yet. But fortunately, the Celio can't touch us. I'm not putting any energy onto it. That is not Lysandre. But... okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'll do 30 more damage to the Celio. I'm just going to play the Absol now. I'm going to move the energy or the damage over to the Palkia. Now. Oops. Don't do this. No, no. No, escape, cancel. So, I clicked the wrong thing. There goes that idea. I forgot I gotta click first of who I want to move the damage off of. Alright then. So this game is done. Because that Palkia is going to destroy us. Just, sadly, in the online game, they don't have the undo option. There used to be an undo last action option. They don't have that anymore. A simple misclick can cost you the game. But here's what I can do. I can escape rope into Absol, thanks to my opponent. Palkia does come up. My idea was I could have retreated and energy switched into Absol. But, you know what? We're doing okay here. Don't hit my bench! So, we're about to lose this one anyway. I kind of don't care at this point. I'm bringing up Yveltal. I'm going to get the knockout. Not the knockout. I'm going to get knocked out. But I'm going to do some damage before I go down. Hey, Sycamore. That's great. Tell you what. We're going to Super Rod stuff back in. Just the Absol, of course. And we don't have anything for energy retrieval. Energy switch doesn't help us. We're just going to go... we're going to Sycamore. Can't really lose anything at this point. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Out of here, Sycamore. Get my stuff out of the way. Give me 7 new cards. and find myself something of use? Not at all. Let's drop a Zubat. Let's drop a Zubat. Let's put an energy to Zubat, and let's grab a Golbat with that level ball. Can't play it just yet this turn, of course. Both Zubat came into play this turn. And I could retreat. But I want to get the damage off. I'm just going to go with the Darkness Blade of 100 damage. 80 damage remaining. I can get 40 more by playing both Golbat onto both Pokemon here. I just need a little bit more damage. And do you have any more potions left? That could be a thing. So Pearl Hurricane is going to do 30 damage to one of my Benched Pokemon. Probably the Zubat, I'm thinking, since it has energy. Wait. Yeah, Pearl Hurricane. I thought I was using the other move for a second. I thought, wait a minute, what? But, here we see, oh, the Absol takes the hit, actually. Now then. Here's what I can do. I'm going to bring the Zubat up. And... ooh, Yveltal. So let's put Yveltal down. I'm going to evolve into Golbat. We'll put 2 damage counters on the Palkia-EX. Let's retreat into the other Zubat. We're now going to de-evolve and bring the Golbat back into hand. I will now play that Golbat and do 2 more damage counters on Palkia-EX. I'll put this onto Yveltal, and let's go ahead and play Judge. We find another level ball. In fact, you know what? We just got a knockout on this Palkia-EX. I'm going to play the Absol. I'll move 3 damage from Articuno onto the Palkia-EX. Bam, there we go. And let's play the level ball, grab another Golbat. Okay, this worked out kind of decent. Even after the misclick. We're now going to do a swoop across. 10 damage on everything. Knocking out Palkia-EX. Whew. If nothing else, at least you got to see that in action. 2 prizes. Boom and boom. Teammates, excellent. We're about to lose the Golbat, I'm sure. Because the Articuno can easily get a KO. Alright. We're doing okay-ish here. You have 110 HP left. Can I make use of that? Alright, so let's see. There is also a chance that they won't get the coin flips they need for a knockout on Golbat. So, I can... if I could just do 100 damage... okay, revealing with the random receiver, they got Shauna. Okay. If I could do 100 damage with an attack, I could knock out this Articuno when I play the other Golbat from hand and put 2 more damage counters onto it, bringing it down to 90 remaining. So, I'm gonna play a little bit risky. What I want to do with the teammates, if they get the knockout on Golbat, I'm going to look for a Max Elixir. Come on, get 2 heads. Oh, they didn't get the knockout. I was hoping for that, but oh well. At least I can do another swoop across, though. So then, let's go ahead and play Golbat immediately. Do 2 more damage counters on the Articuno. Let's play out the Scorched Earth. I'm not going to break Evolve just yet, because I want to be able to put a Max Elixir item to the Yveltal if I can find it using the Scorched Earth to discard a Fire Energy. 2 cards. Max Elixir is here. Darkness Energy is found. I can play that right to the Yveltal. Next, I can break Evolve. And just to thin the deck a little bit more, let's play the Pokemon Fan Club. I don't know how many basics are left in there. Probably none. No, actually, we got an Absol and a Zubat. Alright. Can I make use of the Absol for a knockout anywhere? I do not think so. Actually, I could move the damage off of Articuno onto the Celio. Let's do that right now. Yes, so choose the Articuno. I can easily get a Baleful Night KO on the Articuno if necessary. So another knockout is claimed before attacking for the turn. Find ourselves a Skyla. I'm definitely going to make use of her next turn, but for the time being, do a swoop across, hitting everything on the bench. I can use either Teammates next turn or Skyla to find a Professor's Letter, but since they're going to easily get a knockout with the Articuno, Teammates is the way to go. I can find the Professor's Letter plus a second card of any choice. Alright, we're doing decently okay-ish good. Max Revive. Palkia-EX, yep, it's coming back, everybody. That would be the perfect time to play a Judge, wouldn't it? Shuffle up the deck. Oh well. So they can easily... So they're going to shuffle anyway. They could find the Palkia regardless, though. And if not, they do have energy on that Skarmory for the Find a Friend, or Call for Family. And Walrein is now on the bench. Alright, so once they do knock out the Golbat, I can play the other Zubat. I can find a way to get another Golbat. I think I... Did I lose another Golbat before? Escape Rope. What could they hit me with? They're going to bring this up, of course, for Call for Family. Let's go into the Golbat. I have free retreat. I can switch around and do whatever I need to, of course. So, the only problem, if I can't get damage off on the benched Palkia-EX, I can't hit it with Baleful Night. But it's going to take a while to power that thing back up again, though. We have that in our favor, at least. Let's see what you got there, Matt99. I'm hoping the internet doesn't lag out again. If it does, I'm still going to show you this as it is for the time being, so you can see the idea in play. Alright, come on now. It shouldn't take this long to choose, therefore... Oh, never mind. I was going to say, I think the internet is lagging, but we are good. Alright, Perugly comes up, and they didn't... I would have thought they would have wanted to bring the Skarmory up. But anyway, it is now time to retreat into the Baleful Night of Yveltal EX, or Yveltal EX, Yveltal BREAK. Let's play Skyla. I want to find Professor's Letter, so I can make more use of the Scorched Earth. We have plenty of darkness in play. If they have a way to discard energy, though, do I want to grab another darkness? You know what? That's all we have left. I should have used Skyla to find a energy retrieval in that case, but it is what it is. Let's go for a Baleful Night, knocking out Perugly, getting some damage off on everything on their bench. One more prize taken. I got 2 left to go, and a Pokemon Center Lady. I wonder if they'd want to try the Chilling Sigh, because they can't get a one-hit KO on me with the Articuno. The most they can do is 40, 80, 120, 140, I believe. Yeah, 140. We will survive with 10 HP, which is kind of scary, but we'll survive at least, I guess. And we're going to find the Palkia-EX and an Articuno with Find Ice. Definitely good for some energy acceleration of getting stuff out of the deck. Doesn't help you attach more than one per turn, unfortunately, but it helps thin out your deck so you can draw better cards on your following turns. Alright, so if they do the massive... I keep mixing up the words massive and maximum. If they can do the maximum of 140, we can at least heal 60 of that off with the Center Lady. Yeah, there they go, adding energy to that Palkia, of course. But if they flip only 1 heads, then at least... Wait, hang on. What's your HP at, folks? Yeah, not enough for a KO on them just yet. And they do put me to sleep, but I do have that Pokemon Center Lady, of course. They're probably thinking, woo, he got the tails, excellent, we are safe for one more turn. No, you're not. I'm going to heal up and go for a knockout with the Baleful Night. Don't need to play anything from hand. Down goes the Articuno, and these 2 Pokemon on the bench, or at least the Skarmory, is set up for a knockout with the next Baleful Night attack. Lysandre. If they don't knock out Yveltal BREAK, we've got this. I can bring up anything that I want that can take less than 120 damage and bring them down. And if they can't defeat Yveltal BREAK, yeah, the Skarmory's just going to come up. It's basically just a KO at this point. Okay, they can do 60 damage. They do have a retreat on this. They can just discard 1 energy. But again, ooh, Rough Seas. They can heal 30 from their Walrein. That's not going to save your Skarmory, though. Send up a Magikarp. In fact, if I had a way to do some damage to the Magikarp, I probably would, just so Baleful Night would hit it. I know that's kind of cruel, but 60 damage, uh-oh. And simply put, I just gotta go for the Baleful Night attack, where it's going to end the game right here. And boom, down goes the final Pokemon that I need for my last prize card. So although it was looking kind of iffy there for a little bit, I managed to pull through, even after that misclick, which potentially could have cost me the game. You could tell I sort of gave up at that point. But See, that's the thing. If you're on the losing side in a Pokemon TCG battle, never give up, because anything could happen. If you have like the right support in your deck and stuff, I managed to get my draw support in the Scorched Earth kind of when I needed it, so all in all, this was a pretty decent match. Well played on both sides. Just, I guess I had better luck with the draw with some of my cards. And I got some more points for that challenge there. Cool. Alright, that is it. And so with that win, I actually got 4 of these treasure boxes. So as a little sort of an extra thing for the video, let's just check this out. I do want to apologize that, as dumb as it sounds of me, I forgot to... Wait, not Deck Manager Collection. I forgot to start recording the video at the start of that last match. So you didn't see the intro screen or anything, but you did get to see the match at least, so that is something. So let's just open up these reward items, the uncommon chest. Uncommon? Could be some pretty decent stuff. We find ourselves a Lassus Special. I haven't even used that yet, but draw a card for each of your opponent's bench basic Pokemon. Let's open up another uncommon chest, see what we happen to find. We have an Ultra Ball, always useful. Let's open up 2 more, and then we'll go do the outro, talk about the deck. And I do want to mention... Oh, wait, hang on. This is either a reverse foil or a super special, awesome rare card. Marowak, one of my favorites. All right, there we go. And one more. And in fact, we'll open up that trade locked breakthrough. Was it breakthrough or breakpoint? Find a Luxio and 5 more tokens in this uncommon chest. So let's open up this, and then I'll talk about how I want to sort of start changing the upload schedule for these TCG matches. Because with school now in session, I figure a lot of the folks that might be watching these videos are going to be busy throughout the week with their schoolwork and homework and all that. So here we find Reverse Foil Goldeen, another Professor's Letter, Assault Vest, and a Raichu with the Thunderclap Shot and Electro Smash. So since folks might be a little bit busy throughout the week with schoolwork and such, I'm probably going to start moving the TCG matches towards later on in the week. So today, of course, Wednesday, you're seeing this. Next week's video will be on Thursday, and following that, we're going to have Friday for the final one. So for the next immediate future, I'm going to say probably Friday I'll be uploading the TCG videos. Do you guys like that idea, or would you rather I stick to using Wednesdays as the TCG upload days? Just let me know what you prefer. If Wednesday's not sort of an interference with your school schedule, for those of you that are in school, so be it. I can keep it on Wednesdays. Just whatever you guys want to, or whenever you guys want to see these, just let me know. But that all being said, that has been this week's... I don't know why I suddenly went Texan there. That has been this week's Pokemon TCG Live Online match number 53. I'm starting to remember the numbers there. Awesome. And featuring Yveltal BREAK with the Baleful Night and a massive misclick from the Professor. But we managed to still turn things around and pull through. So feel free to leave a comment down below, everybody. Let me know what you thought of the deck this week and the matches. And if you have any suggestions on how to improve this, feel free to just drop those down there as well. Anybody that might want to recreate this sort of an idea for their own online decks or even their real decks, any suggestions you have for improvement could come in handy. A lot of the times, you might notice I like to run one of certain cards, like one Energy Switch, one Lysandre, and the off chance that they come in handy here and there. But a lot of times, maybe it could be more streamlined, take some of those single cards out and double or triple up on more useful cards. So any suggestions for improvements you might have in that respect, feel free to let them or leave them in the comments down below. And let me know for next week which break evolution you would like to see from Steam Siege, because we are currently over halfway through them. We have seen, if I can turn this on here, we've seen Clawitzer break, we saw Xerneas break, Yawn Mega break, and Yveltal break. So that just leaves Hydreigon break, Pyroar break, and Talonflame break. So of those 3, if you have any preference of what you want to see, you can do Flare Blitz for 150 with Talonflame break. You can do Kaiser Tackle for 180 with Pyroar break. It hurts itself for 50. And the Talonflame discards all fire energy attached to it. And the Hydreigon break for 4 energy, 150, discard 3 energy attached to it, and this does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So any of those 3 break evolutions that you would like to see for next week, leave that in the comment down below also, and I'll see what I can do about assembling a cool deck strategy, and get a cool idea put together for next week's Pokemon TCG Live Online match number 54. So that all being said, I want to say thank you everybody for checking out today's Pokemon TCG Live Online match. Professor Chaz is signing off. I'll catch you next time.